Well, hello, everybody out there. Welcome to the Moviegoer Society podcast brought to you by Nerdtropolis. I'm your host, Sean Toshworth, the mayor of Nerdtropolis. And joining me, as always, is Drew Munhausen, the professional media and movie mastermind. I'm just so excited to hear Drew's thoughts about that intro.
It was good. It had the kind of Mission Impossible feel without copyright infringement. So I feel like you did the right thing. But Sean, I have to tell you something. The strangest thing happened today. I just feel like I had so many brushes with death today. I mean, it's the craziest thing. Like narrowly avoided cars, accidents, things like that. But I think I'm good. I'm in the clear, right? We should be all good.
If you need any help kind of having some good luck, maybe cheating death, I might have to give you one of these. It says, see a penny, pick it up all day long. You'll have bad luck, but I think this might bring you some good luck. Is the star of Final Destination Bloodlines is the penny.
The penny. Did they give everybody that went to the early screening a penny as a souvenir?
Yeah, I got a penny. You can't see it here, but there is a poster for Bloodlines, and also I wish you could have seen it, but got an hourglass with the logo.
Real question. Do you have a storage unit where you have to put a lot of your like nerd memorabilia and collectibles? Because surely you have to be at a point where you're at or near capacity and you have to like switch out which things you have on display at any given time to give everything their due.
They are all around here. They're stored in here somewhere. The funny thing about this, real quick, this is not enough time. It goes so quick. My time is going to run up
like
real
a
quick.
10-second timer.
If that. Look at that. Oh man. If this was like in a Saw movie and they said this is how much time you had to get. Oh, it stopped. Oh, maybe that worked. Is that a good sign?
Oh no.
Time has frozen. This is like I'm the Prince of Persia. The sand of time.
They do this thing for children, like my 5-year-old who like the dentist gives them a little timer that's like, you need to brush your teeth for as long as this timer is going. Like that's the timer my daughter wishes that she had. She's like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, not that one. That one went by fast. But going back to your question, all the stuff I get sent, I mean, I do have to find a way to organize them. Luckily, it's stuff I can either showcase. It's either a book, movie, or something small like that. Like I just got sent media, physical media I love.
Me
but apparently
too.
now there's the 4K Ultra HD. You can get a Dune Prophecy is available. I did not get to finish this. It is, I guess, still streaming on Max. But if you're a collector, Dune fan, or a fan of physical media, you can get the 4K copy of season 1 of Dune Prophecy. Maybe just I don't know if they're doing season 2. I don't know if I didn't watch it, so I don't know how it ends. So I must watch this.
I haven't seen it either. So, and I love the Dune movies, and I just never dove into the show.
But that is available. And then also they sent me this. This is really cool. I guess it's can't do math, but is it the 40th anniversary of this movie? The Reanimator. Did you ever see this?
Oh yeah, Reanimator. Heck yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen it, so now a reason to. 40th anniversary restored and glory 4K. So I have that to look forward to. So like that stuff like that I get sent, and then when it comes to physical media, there's bigger stuff. Like this complete collection of Ben 10. This I'm actually really excited for. I am a Ben 10 fan. I'm not gonna lie. This is one of the coolest cartoons to ever exist in the world. And they've, this one features Ben 10, Ben 10 Alien Force, Ben 10 Ultimate Alien, and Ben 10 Omniverse. I wonder if the 2 movies are also on here too. It's just a really cool concept. It's a shame that it doesn't have like a blockbuster feature film vibe that I hope one day they do that with Ben 10, because I think it's a great property. Super cool stuff. Maybe some stuff maybe too familiar to other movies out there, but I think it's a really cool concept. Did you ever watch Ben 10?
I didn't. I was a little too old, I think, when it came out. I've heard of it.
I was really too old.
Like the type of thing I would have really liked.
I was really old when it came out, but I loved it.
Yeah, but you're the mayor of Nerdtropolis. It's your job. to do so. I can't believe this show ran for so long. It debuted in 2005. It had different variations that ran as recent as 2021. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy because I'm gonna be wrong on this, but like I felt like it got like rebooted, right? There was like a new version of Ben 10 that was slightly different than the original Ben 10, which was fine, but it's very similar, but like still watchable. Like you can reboot this many times and restart over and change it up a little bit, and I'll still watch it. That's how cool Ben 10 is. It's so that's available, the complete collection. And real quick before we do move on, because it's going crazy in our website, because I guess we were the first to break the news on physical media. And as I pull that up, but celebrating 30 years, the complete collection of the Drew Carey Show. Did you ever watch that?
I did here and there.
I love that show and the complete series. I believe it's coming out soon. You can probably pre-order or order it now on Amazon, and that's on nerdtropolis.com. But the Drew Carey Show, loved it. Ran for so long. But what's so wild about this, and it's kind of it's out there. People aren't very happy about it, but they understand it because 4 episodes are not on this collection due to the music used. The Drew Carey Show had a lot of great music, and so there's a lot of episodes that are tweaked a little bit, and the music's missing or it's different music just because of licensing. And some people have been kind of fussy about that, but they also understand why. This is a very weird situation with this show, which was so music heavy. Yeah, it's just changed up a little bit for this complete series, which people say it's not complete, which I understand. It's not technically complete when it's missing 4 special episodes, but still, I mean, this is a big news because the Drew Carey Show has been one of those that did not get like this type of treatment, and now we do. What does the manual say? They should sell beer coffee with the Drew Carey Show box set. I'm sure they will sell something as they tie in more to the 30th anniversary, because there's all those specialty little coffee brands that kind of team up with special releases, but that's one of them. But I can't believe you weren't a big Drew Carey fan, huh?
I mean, this is kind of the opposite problem with Ben 10, right? Like this show was hot, I think, when I was probably a little too young to be interested, and then just never went and revisited it. Wait, no, there's no way. The Drew Carey Show ran for 9 years,
Oh yeah, dude.
95 to 04. That's
It was big time
insane.
show. Big time show. It's okay not to be a fan of Drew Carey, but the only Drew we're a fan of is Drew Manhausen.
We
So
we we watched a lot of Whose Line Is It Anyway, though. So like a lot of the
exactly.
cast and recurring characters of the Drew Carey Show were still on my TV in a different way.
Yeah, and that's why I loved Whose Line Was It Anyways. So yeah, that's available. But yeah, on this episode, we do have a double feature. 2 totally different movies. One's about trying to outrun death. The other's about trying to outrun, well, Tom Cruise's cardio. Um,
And it's
I'm
all linked to what we were just talking about, because we were talking about these different TV shows that ran for long periods of time, and the Mission Impossible movies based on a TV show from the 60s. So it's all connected. This is not just a random tangent.
I mean, it's all about franchises that have been going on for so long, and they're still going. Maybe they're done. Who knows? But yeah, let's kick off with something that really messed me up, but in a good way, I guess. I guess that's a compliment. A movie that really messed me up, I will say, is Final Destination Bloodlines. Oh man. This was a movie, first off, I will say this. Drew and I had to battle this out like a Pokemon battle. We had to battle this out together to
It's
see
true.
who's gonna go to what movie. But these 2 films were on the same night. And so Drew and I had to split up, and I took Final Destination because I just knew how much Drew was anticipating this new Mission Impossible movie, which was number 1 on his list when
It's
we did
true.
the top, summer list for movies. So I hate him for this because I don't do horror, I don't do gore, bloodiness, all that good stuff. But I am a fan of the franchise, despite not seeing every single one. As a big fan of the first 2, I thought it was one of the most unique films. When the first one came out, I was like, this is just wild. And it changed the way I saw the world in the worst way. So yeah, I'm not okay after watching this. And that's exactly why Final Destination Bloodlines works so well for me. This movie dropped me back into Death's chaotic world. And I think part 3 maybe was the last one I saw. I just couldn't take any more of this franchise. But it has been revived in this new way. To kind of explain it a little bit, it kind of takes us back to a time where death. Let me see if I pull this photo. And there's gonna be some spoilers, I guess, of the storyline and stuff like that. But this takes place, I believe we're in the 60s in here. I believe I could be wrong. Take me back on whatever time period. But it introduces us to a character that outruns death from this day on to present day and has a family of her own, and then kind of everything kind of gets played out from there. But this scene, I would tell you, was wild. This was a wild scene. From the jump, the tension is there. I saw it in IMAX, which was very surprising to me that like how well this does in IMAX. And I think they might have 3D options for this. If there's a 3D option, definitely check that out. And yeah, Emmanuel says 1960s. So we go back to 1960s to this place that apparently no longer exists. And there's kind of like a family tree, and death is trying to get through that family tree throughout the decades. And now we're in modern day for that. Uh, I love that it kind of really leans into the suspense of things because it does take you on a little roller coaster ride. And the lead character is kind of like Sherlock Holmes, trying to figure out how death operates. And she is the grandchild of the lady that survived this crazy fire that did not happen like that. She was able to save everybody from it happening. And so that's where death goes. It's on a little train of death there. But Drew, when was the last time you watched a Final Destination movie?
Never, Sean.
You've never
seen one. I was going to try to catch up on some of them, at least like the first couple before the new one comes out. So I might still try to watch it before, because I do want to go see this weekend. The reviews of it are like seem to be pretty positive all around. I know you were positive on your review, and it sounds like while there's the crazy kills and gore, that there's a lot of comedy to kind of be found in it too.
Thank God there was comedy. I needed the comedy in between to settle myself from all the debts. I mean, just everything that's happening. I mean, there's a couple scenes that are just duplicates of this. Like that's the comical part of it too. It's just like it's like funeral after funeral. You know, that's the funny part as well. There was a photo I was about to show it, and I realized that is way too graphic to show. I don't want to look at it. I was like, how is this part of the press kit? It is a disgusting photo. I don't want to show that. I will probably show this one. I think this one we saw in the trailers. This is a wild scene here. This is not even like compared to what we get in this movie. And like I said, it leans into the suspense part of this world of death, figure out death's pattern and that Sherlock, Holmes vibe, like a twisted, like mystery thriller. But what I really liked about it is pretty grounded. Like the deaths, even though we've seen wild ones in the past, this one was like hits more at home of possibilities. And so now walking around the neighborhood, walking around the house, I'm like, oh man, what can happen? So it just predicts some stuff that could happen in real life, and just somehow just much worse. And seeing an IMAX, disgusting. Like that much gore in front of you at that size level, too much. Little cheesy in parts, but I think it worked. It helped me like kind of chill after going through this crazy ride that I blame Drew for. But I appreciate the balance of the film.
I feel like the cheesiness kind of comes with the territory of a franchise like this. Like I think the fans kind of go for the gore, a little bit of the lore. Ooh, gore and lore. Yeah. I like that. But then also like you kind of want the cheesy comedy part of it too. Like that's what makes these franchises work, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a very self-aware movie. And like Emmanuel says, he likes that the Final Destination, this movie stands on its own. You don't need to see the other films. I actually think
okay, good.
I would watch this first and then go back and watch everything. I think this works that way perfectly for many reasons, but it does work.
I was just looking at, it sounds like Tony Todd, the late Tony Todd, is kind of one of the recurring through lines through the franchise. It looks like he's in 5 of the 6 movies.
It is. He is one. This movie gives him more. He doesn't have much screen time, but his character you figure out more than the past.
Okay.
Yeah, sharing this photo of the late Tony Todd, friend of Nerdtropolis. I had a wonderful time talking to him. Big nerd. Missing him already. This was a very bittersweet scene in the movie. I don't want to spoil anything. I mean, nothing really happens to him in general, but like when he's talking about it, you can kind of tell like they kind of put in some of his real life into it, and you can tell he was not well at the time. And yeah, sadly, he passed. And thankfully, he was able to do this movie. I thought, man, if he was able to be part of a Final Destination movie in the recent times, like this is awesome. His character is very important to the franchise. It's actually very important to this film too, surprisingly. Like I said, they kind of give him a backstory that's a little bit deeper and kind of full circle for him, quite a bit actually. So that was actually surprising, a touching part. So I do appreciate, the filmmakers, the studios saying, Tony, we need to have him back, because sometimes with legacy characters, they either bring him or they don't. But if they do skip out on bringing someone back, it's a shame. But like they did bring Tony Todd back, that was powerful, goosebumps indeed. But if you haven't been a fan of the franchise, but you do enjoy being stressed out, and you want to see how your theater neighbor is doing and kind of see how they're covering their eyes or trembling, Bloodline does deliver. It's wild. I will tell you that. It's smart. It's self-aware, not afraid to make you paranoid about literally everything. And honestly, it doesn't make me want to go back and watch any of the movies anymore. Like, I've had enough. That's how great this film does, of making me so not scared per se, but like gored out, and not want to see any more of these crazy kills, because I don't need my brain going crazy thinking of ways I need to tiptoe around the world. That's why I don't like the franchise, but I love the franchise, if that makes sense. It does its job very, very, very well.
It's it's such a smart idea for a franchise in general, right? Because if you think of the horror franchises that have like a lot of entries over a long period of time, you have these like kind of legacy horror franchises like the Halloween movies that have the recent trilogy that bring back Jamie Lee Curtis, and they kind of try to tie it up and like go back to the first, but like Final Destination can be so standalone and can kind of withstand the test of time, because the whole idea of avoiding death and these kind of like crazy gnarly kills is like kind of all you need for a big horror franchise. And as long as you can figure out new and creative ways to do it on screen, it works. It's kind of like what makes the Saw franchise work. I mean, obviously Saw has Jigsaw, but like who really cares about the storyline of those movies? Those storylines get so convoluted because they try to give Jigsaw this backstory, but like really at the end of the day, people just want to see the crazy contraptions and how people escape or get killed. And so I think that's what works with Final Destination as well. Kind of parallel to that. So, and also it's nice when a new entry like this comes out. You know, it's the first one in 14 years to come out. Is that right? I think the last
I mean,
one
it's
was
been a while. I have
2011.
not seen the previous one. It's been a while that I feel like Final Destination came out. Um, yeah, this is a franchise that doesn't need no connections really. It's death against the world, pretty much. And there's just so many people that I'm sure have cheated death, and death is going after them. That's really what it's about. So you can just implement that in different ways. Um, you can do different parts of the world. You can do different types of people. I mean, it's wild. And going back a little bit to Tony Todd, like Emmanuel did say that, like, he cried during Tony Todd's speech. Yes, and I don't want to give out. It's not a spoiler per se. I got emotional too, just because he talks about sickness, and so he was dealing with that sickness during filming. So hits close to home, and so you feel for it, and it's very touching, and just wild when they input something in the movie that's just so real. That's supposed to be a make believe film, you know. So that's all I can say about that. And if you haven't checked out my Tony Todd interview, it is on the YouTube channel on the Nerdtropolis. I mean, it's been a fun time. He was proud to be a nerd, I will say, and he loved making art, and that's for sure. Drew, I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I was highly entertained, highly scared, a lot of anticipation, a lot of fake outs on deaths too. They did a good job. It's a roller coaster ride. The tension is there throughout. It doesn't take too long to get into everything, and pretty fun story. I will say that. So Drew, if you need to check it out, I will give you this lucky penny here to take with you.
I will definitely be checking it out this weekend. I'm excited to see it. And again, like it's cool when a new one comes out like this, and it gives you an excuse to go back and revisit. I believe on Max, formerly HBO Max, and soon to be HBO Max once again. I have seen the Final Destination movies on that service, I think circling around in the top 10. So like people are revisiting these movies in anticipation of the new one. So yeah, I think it's really cool. I'm looking forward to it, and it's a good way for me to get on board this franchise.
Yeah, I might go rewatch the first one, which was really like mind blowing to me. Like that whole concept when it first came out, I was like, whoa. With Devin Sawa too, I love that guy. He's awesome. So Yeah, now from avoiding death to chasing things, 500 miles per hour, like Tom Cruise
Arguably
likes
still avoiding death in a way. It's what Tom
it.
Cruise has been doing while making these
Teasing death.
movies.
He's just teasing, teasing death. So Final Destination hits theaters this weekend, but we got Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, and that does not come out till the 23rd. But Drew, you got a chance to check this one out pretty early, which is pretty awesome.
It did. And to segue, while I have not seen any of the 6 Final Destination movies, I have now seen all 8 Mission Impossible movies. So I can put that feather in my hat. And yeah, did you see you reviewed Dead Reckoning Part 1, formerly Dead Reckoning Part 1. I think now they're just calling it Dead Reckoning because this one changed its name. This was supposed to be Dead Reckoning Part 2 until they changed it to The Final Reckoning. But you liked Dead Reckoning Part 1, right?
I did, and I've told you before, and the reason I really wanted you to do this movie is because I don't recall seeing. I don't know where I fell off the Mission Impossible bandwagon. Midway through, I don't know if I saw the Henry Cavill one or I've seen parts of it, and I don't know what came before it. You can tell me the names, I just don't know. I need to know who's in it, like what actors were in it. But I've seen parts of them, but I know I've seen the first 3. That's for
Yeah.
sure. The Jeremy Renner ones, I don't believe I saw those.
Jeremy Renner was in 4 and 5.
Okay. And then Cavill was 6.
And Cavill was in 6.
So
Yes.
4 and 5 is probably where I fell off. Or probably seen it, just don't remember very well. But this being billed as the final mission, and I don't want to jump too far ahead. Did it feel like a proper send off? You can just say just gently.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll say yes. I'll
Okay.
say
And continue on.
let me be pretty transparent, with people who like the Mission Impossible franchise. It's like any of these big action franchises where they're like, we're ending it. We're really ending it. It's like they end it, but could they do another one if they wanted to? Sure, they could. So, but yes, this one does have a lot of finality to it. I think that's what's really interesting about this movie. So again, not to to give away the ending, I gave this movie 4 to 5 stars. Okay, and the reviews are all out now, and I knew when I was reviewing it, I was like, I know I'm going to be more on the positive end of this, but let me explain why. Because this film, compared to other entries or I should say, the more recent entries of the franchise, the ones especially directed by Christopher McQuarrie, because the first 4 movies of the Mission Impossible franchise all had different directors. And then the latter 4 movies have all been directed by Christopher McQuarrie, who's now a close working partner of Tom Cruise, and they work very closely on these movies. And there has been a lot of spectacle and what kind of big new action set pieces are they going to do for these movies, and what kind of death-defying stunts is Tom Cruise going to do. And as we know, they release all these clips like at the Super Bowl and things of Tom Cruise actually hanging off the side of a plane because they really want to show like he did these things. And a lot of these stunts are quote unquote real. I mean, obviously they get touched up. There's a lot of things that go into it, but there's a lot of practical stuff in these movies, and I think that's what the fans are really looking for. The plot is there, it's convoluted. You can't help but have that happen when you're 8 movies into a franchise that has endured over the course of almost 30 years. That's to be expected. With this one, the thing that's interesting is, with it being the final entry, it doesn't have as much action as you would expect. I think there's a lot of plot. Like the first hour is just really a lot of plot, and it moves very fast, and it's a little bit sloppy because they're trying to do a lot. They're trying to be a direct sequel and wrap up all the things that were set up in Dead Reckoning Part 1.
But it doesn't take place like almost directly afterwards. Some time has passed.
It's like 2 months. It's like it's pretty close.
Okay.
But then
Does
they
it say
also
what were they doing in those 2 months? Does it say, or just because I felt like the ending of that movie, it was almost like they could have just cut and then, keep going from there for the sequel.
Yeah, because there's all the stuff like they basically, I think the first one ends with him having the 2 parts of this cruciform key that they need to unlock to gain access to the entity, which is this AI that's kind of run amok. And that's kind of what they established has happened in the 2 months, is basically the entity, the AI, has taken over the web, and it has put all of the world kind of like politically at odds with itself. Like, you don't know what to believe on the internet. There's a lot of factions and things that have come up in this, and people that support the entity and people that don't, and kind of all the world powers are like not sure what to do with this and are all kind of at odds with each other. So truly, the weight of the world is on Ethan Hunt's shoulders in this movie. Like, the world's safety is what this has come down to because of the entity. So the stakes are high. So you got to establish all of that. What's the entity? What has it done? What's happening with the world? What's the president think? But Ethan Hunt and the government are not necessarily on good terms. So we got to get that all worked out. There's a lot of these things before we can even really get to the action. And so even I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, it has been a while, and it's just a lot of plot moving quickly. But finally, when they do get to the big set pieces where there's a lot of things going on simultaneously, there's this kind of incredible sequence in the middle of the movie with infiltrating this crashed submarine that is set up in Dead Reckoning. And all of that had me on the edge of my seat. And again, it's like cutting back and forth between what Ethan's doing and what the team's doing.
Tom and Ethan are the same people. It's
exactly.
I can't tell the difference anymore.
And all that stuff is really great. And then, of course, the big climactic one, that's what you have the image of here, of like this battle atop these biplanes, is pretty thrilling. And we know from having seen these behind the scenes clips that he's really hanging off the side of these planes, and you can tell, like, when you're watching it and you see the way the wind is hitting his face and the way his hair's blowing against his head, moving at fast speeds, like, this is the type of stuff you can't replicate this well with CG, and it's real. And I think that's the stuff that really sets this franchise apart. And which is why I'm like, even though this movie had some really sloppy storytelling, and even though I wish it had more action, the stuff that's here is what I go to the movies for. And it is the spectacle, and it is the crazy stunts, and that's what I wanted. And so I'm like, at the end of the day, even though I have complaints about the movie, it's by far, far from being a perfect movie, but it's a great time. And that's what mattered to me. And that's why I reviewed it so positively. That being said, like, if I have to rank, I've been thinking about this a lot, obviously, since I saw the movie. Like,
give us your ranking.
My Mission Impossible rankings.
Let's do it.
This is definitive for me. It goes 6, 5, 4, 7, 8, 3, 1, 2. So that's my ranking.
That's best to worst.
That is best to worst.
You put the first movie so low.
Yeah, I mean, it shows its age. It is pretty slow in plotting in its own ways too. Like, it has, of course, the
iconic scene.
The iconic, yeah, like coming down on the wire between the lasers and infiltrating this room, and all that they have to do with like the noise. That scene is incredible. But if you watch the rest of the movie, it's fine. 2 has some charms too, but
2 is so great. That motorcycle and those Oakleys. I mean, like, I can just recall all that stuff. Those were good times for cinema. I'll tell you that.
That movie's a little bit harder to rewatch. It has a lot more slower parts, and it's not until you get to 3 with J.J. Abrams directing where it kind of gets into more of like, no, let's do like these big action set pieces, and then they've just built on that. I really like 4, which is the Brad Bird one that introduces Jeremy Renner, where like they were kind of setting him up to essentially take over the franchise from Tom Cruise, and then Tom Cruise is like, no, I've got this. I basically, though, putting the 8th movie 5th in my rankings, like, I like all these movies. That's the thing. So it's kind of hard. It's like putting it that low doesn't mean it's bad. It's just there's other entries that are a lot stronger. And
I have to ask this though. In this film, I think they're in every film pretty much. Like, do we get the iconic like face swapping thing where he like do we
Like
get
masks,
the mask? Do
doing
we get the
masks.
mask again and a mask in this? Because those are my favorite scenes when he does
They
the
kind of
mask.
shoehorn the masks into the movies at any given point. Always, they are quickly used in this one, but
Okay.
not heavily featured. This one though does do some interesting trying to tie up loose ends, not just from Dead Reckoning, but from other movies in the franchise, which I thought was interesting. Like it tries to give you fan service for things that fans probably didn't know they wanted or weren't asking for. But some of those things really worked for me. Like I thought it was really fun. I'm like, I didn't expect this. This is fun. They're having a good time with it, so I'm here for it. That's kind of my take on it, and I don't want to get into what exactly that is. There's a character that's introduced that um just the ties to the franchise is fun, and you know, you
Full
got
of
to see
Easter
it for
eggs.
yourself.
Easter
Yeah,
eggs.
Easter
And
eggs
call
is a good way to put it.
Easter eggs and callbacks and tying up those loose ends. 8 movies deep for the Mission Impossible franchise. Is this something that you think is gonna get rebooted, or just is this end of the road?
Gosh, you could not reboot this franchise. I think while Tom Cruise is still with us, like not to sound morbid, but like this franchise over the course of 30, and then I know it was based on a TV show. I know it has a legacy that goes beyond this movie series,
Who has the
but the
rights to it?
film,
That's the question. It's like, who has the rights? Because apparently it's been tied up with Tom Cruise for a while, so maybe he has something
yeah,
tied
because
in.
this is Skydance now.
And he has investment in Skydance.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
don't
mean to jump into a
know
rabbit
how
hole
all the
there.
rights are or where they
Yeah.
go because there have been different distributors and things, but it's Skydance now. But yeah, I just this franchise, despite being IP that existed before the first movie, I think now is so tied to Tom Cruise and his persona and the stunts and everything that I don't know how you reboot it during his lifetime without
Yeah.
him. You know, like that's why I'm saying, like, I mean, I know he's getting up there in age, but he still looks great in this movie. And you know, if he wanted to do another one of these, I'm sure he could. And if this movie performs well, I don't think it's out of the question. But they definitely do wrap it up that if this is the last one, like it's satisfying an ending with an asterisk. Because again,
Okay.
it's not the most exciting one of the franchise, and I really wish they could have ended on a huge bang. But the action scenes that are here are really good. I just feel like it needed at least one more big action scene or one more uh, set piece to give it that oomph. But that's really saying something because this movie is almost 3 hours long as it is. So
That's wild. Which one ended with a bigger bang? This movie or Fast X?
this movie, I can confidently say is much better than Fast X. Yeah,
No, I know, but like the how it ended, like that ended on a huge note
it
with like
ended on a huge cliffhanger that we're still waiting for. Right? If I'm remembering correctly, didn't Fast X end with like a slow? It basically just ended mid-action scene. Am I remembering right?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Real quick, Emmanuel says he thought the Paramount owned the rights. Yeah, that is
He's
actually
right.
true.
He's right. It
He's
was
right,
distributed by
but
Paramount.
Tom Cruise has effective control over the IP when he stars and produces. Um, so he can kind of do whatever he wants with it as long as he's a star or producer. I mean, he has producer rights, so it can go on till the end of the road. And yeah,
Yeah, we'll see. I think that here's the thing. Tom Cruise has been really tied up in this franchise for several years. If you look at his
IMDb.
recent filmography, it's
Yeah.
like the last four movies that Tom Cruise has been in, three out of the four are Mission Impossible movies, and the other one's Top Gun Maverick. So I think that especially once he did the Mummy movie that really didn't work, an American Made, which was okay. He was like, you know what? No, I'm just going to stick to Mission Possible. He did Top Gun, although he is going to be in a new Alejandro Inarritu film. So I'm interested to see what he does post Mission Impossible and like
Well, he's
really
got
get
two
some.
films, but McQuarrie is doing. He's doing two films with him apparently, Broadsword and The Gauntlet. So
There's the one where he's supposed to be training to go into space. I don't know if that's still
that's untitled.
happening. That was a thing.
That SpaceX project, yeah, that's still untitled, and I don't think
Yeah,
that's gonna
there's,
happen anytime soon.
it is kind of, there have been rumblings of like, oh, Mission Impossible was going to be done, but now they're introducing the stunt Oscar, and it's like, oh man, maybe he does one more to get his Oscar, because Tom Cruise famously does not have an Oscar,
That's
and
so weird that he doesn't. That's I never thought about that. That he
yeah,
doesn't have
so
one.
we'll see. He's had an interesting career for sure, and the past really 10 years has been more focused on kind of the crazy action and things like that. And I'd love to see him do a drama, or work with Tarantino in the future, or do something like that. Like Tarantino famously wanted Cruise for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and there is a version of that movie that could have been really cool with Cruise in it. And who knows? But I'm interested to see what he does beyond this. But as far as Mission Impossible Final Reckoning, the Final Reckoning goes, I liked it. It's imperfect. It's not the best of the franchise, but as a big summer blockbuster, it's a good time. And I think that there are worse things you could do during the summer when you want to go see something on the big screen. The Mission Impossible movies are made for the big screen.
That is true. I do want to see a sequel to that. What is it? Edge of Tomorrow, right? They're working on a sequel for that, maybe.
I think so.
That was something I would like to see. I thought that was a pretty fun and brilliant movie. Like that was really interesting. I like that. And also maybe, a spin-off from Tropic Thunder. that could that should have been was he not nominated for that role in any aspect because uh it in that film he was just hilarious as Les Grossman. I swear he won like an MTV Movie Award for it. Maybe who
I was
knows?
going to say he was nominated for a Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actor
In Tropic Thunder.
in Tropic Thunder.
Okay, see that character needs to come back, and I think he wants to bring that character back in some capacity, because it makes sense. You just make a film about the industry and let him play that character again. He needs the cameo in the studio.
He was nominated. This is crazy. In the 66th Golden Globe Awards, he was nominated for Tropic Thunder alongside his co-star Robert Downey Jr., also for Tropic Thunder. They both, of course, lost to Heath Ledger as the Joker.
So it's just a generic, just supporting actor. It's just not a certain.
Yeah, it's not the
just,
supporting actor category at the Golden Globes is not
over.
categorized by drama or
genre.
comedy. There's just one.
Okay. Well, that's fair. That's fair. That's the way to get beat out on that.
Oh, wait, hold on. Am I wrong? No, yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, I'll believe you. I'll believe what the internet says about that. Yeah, I'll be interested to see where Tom Cruise heads next. Maybe he could be in the next Final Destination movie.
Stranger things have happened.
Hey, that is true. But man, what a double feature these two films would make. You could watch them both in IMAX, I'm sure. Because I know Bloodlines was made for IMAX, and I think this was too. They shot a lot of stuff with the IMAX cameras, I believe, for Mission Impossible. But I know Emmanuel's probably gonna watch this movie in 4DX. He loves those he loves those 4DX films. I don't know how he does it.
Boy.
But whether you're dodging a falling ladder, hang off a plane, it's always a good time to be a moviegoer, right, Drew?
It is, and we are like, honestly, this is the most exciting time of the year to be a moviegoer, right? Like we're at the beginning of the summer season. We're at that point of the year where like basically every weekend between here and August has something cool and interesting coming out.
Yeah, and the sooner we can see him, the better. I will say that. And I guess I can reveal like what I watched. Did you see my picture I posted with Stitch at the movie theater? I went to your movie theater, actually, the one you worked at back in the day. And I got to watch a movie really early, but it wasn't Lilo and Stitch. I will tell you that. I got to watch Ballerina.
Oh, I assumed that you saw Lilo and Stitch. With your
That's what everyone did because I just grabbed that popcorn bucket there. I had a chance to watch Ballerina about a month before it comes out. I think it comes out June 6th. I got to speak with the director, and I also got to speak with Norman Reedus. So I will have those interviews queued up to go amongst other interviews Sally been sitting on. I don't mean to neglect y'all out there, but I do have some great interviews lined up. I just kind of wanted to hold them for a little bit. I wanted to get this awesome, fun podcast for the Moviegoer Society out of the way and then dive into some fun stuff, more fun stuff that we have planned. So super excited for that and probably some much more interviews. Like I said, summer is here pretty much. For us it is. It feels like it. And the summer blockbusters are starting to come out very soon. And, you saw our list that we had. Super anticipated films coming out. So thanks for hanging out with us on another episode of the Moviegoer Society. Don't forget to like, subscribe, let us know in the comments when you checked out these movies, what you thought about them. But until next time, I'm Sean Tajwar, the mayor of Nerdtropolis, and you are.
I am Drew Munhausen, the professional media and movie mastermind.
We talked about this last time.
We did. I still wasn't ready for it. Wait, do I get to say the end part though, or are you saying it?
You can say it.
And we will see you at the movies.